Hey everyone, welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. My name is Alvin. I lean right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
Hey, my name is Luke. I lean left on most issues, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Now, in this video, we will be displaying and predicting the best possible case for Democrats in the 2022 midterm Senate races.
Yeah, that's right. We're not going to go crazy overboard, but we think where we're drawing the line in this video is going to be where Democrats would be if they hit their top 5% predicted goals. So, like any race where they have around a 5% chance to win, then we'll give it to them. But anything over that, we think is just way too unrealistic. So, there's the best safe case. All right, so let's start with the original safe states. Obviously, in their best case scenario, Democrats have no problem holding any of these. There we go. I don't think I'm missing anything, right?
Yep.
All right. And then yeah, you can take it away with some other safe states that we are going to have to add to this call.
Okay, let's go with I think immediately right off the bat we could put Colorado on that list. I think in a best case scenario for Democrats, I think Michael Bennet will definitely get over that 10 points, and we'll see something slightly lower than the Biden 2020 margin there. So
100%. And yeah, and in my opinion, I think we should be putting New Hampshire there as well. We had a few recent polls that showed Hassan over 10, right? Which are a little I'm skeptical, okay? I don't think she's winning by over 10. That'd be pretty crazy. And one of them is a registered voter poll, but definitely in the best case scenario, she would be. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, yeah, I think that it could be around there. Bolduc, her opponent is a bit of an extreme candidate. So I do think in an absolute like best case scenario for Dems, I can see Majid Hassan taking that race.
Yeah, and then I guess we might as well put the safe Republican states while we're at it. I personally don't think there's any more safe Dem states here, even in the best case scenario, right?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, so let's
Okay.
go ahead and put the safe Republican states, which they're going to be less of, right? In
Yep.
this scenario, I think we are going to still be putting Alaska there, just because
Alaska,
of what happens.
definitely.
Idaho, we're going to skip Utah, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be going North Dakota, South
Yeah, all
Dakota.
those Central Plain states essentially are solid.
Yeah. Do you think
Kansas,
Kansas probably still solid, right?
yeah.
And obviously the deep South. I personally don't think we should be hitting South Carolina, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess we don't hit South Carolina in this scenario. Missouri, I haven't checked Missouri recently. Is Missouri there?
Well, in terms of polling, the
Right.
Missouri Senate race has been around an 11, 12 point lead for the Republican.
Yeah.
I think in reality, it'll probably be more than that. But in the best case for Democrats, I could see them knocking that down to like more of a
Okay.
likely margin,
Yeah,
honestly.
might as well just put that one likely. And yeah, I think this is a good, solid states for both sides and the Democrats' best case scenario.
Okay.
So yeah, moving on, let's go to the likely Republican states here. So there aren't going to be too many of these, right? In this best case scenario. What would you put in this column?
Oh, well, I mean, I think based on what I have here, I think South Carolina
Mhm.
definitely. I mean, I feel like actually South Carolina, I feel like it could be a solid. Like still, I really
Mhm.
don't see a reality where Tim Scott loses. He's pretty popular among Republicans, um, and I think he'll win by like a very fat margin. So I actually think we could add one more solid here with
Okay.
Tim Ryan. I mean, do you think it's likely? I mean, what
I
do you
mean,
think?
I feel like that one sketchy Trafalgar poll, right, in the governor's race showed that one going to likely. And I'm not exactly sure I buy that poll, but if those headwinds could hurt Scott as well, we could put it there, but I'm not too sure. Maybe he has that black appeal with, Democrats as well. So
Maybe.
We could put that one in solid, even though I feel like it might be just on par with Missouri. So I'm willing to put it in likely, but up to you.
Yeah, I think I would put it in solid. So I'm gonna stick with
All
solid.
right. Okay,
Okay.
let's put that. And then I think probably that's it, right? I mean, there's not another one. I mean,
Yeah.
Utah could be, but I think in the best case scenario, I'd go to a lean.
Yeah, let's talk about Utah next then.
Yeah,
So in Utah, there's Evan McMullen, the independent. Polling has been kind of crazy in this race. Most of the polling has suggested the Republican, Mike Lee, would
correct.
win. The only poll that didn't show that was McMullen internal. But most of the polls that show Mike Lee winning by a lot are like internal polls, internal Republican polls. So I don't know. I could see a reality, and I don't know. I could see a reality where Mike Lee unifies that moderate vote, gets those Democrats on board. I mean, if you combine his vote with Clinton's in 2016, that's 49% right there. I think there's a reality where you can get this pretty close. So I would
Mhm.
say the best possible case is lean for this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this one is lean. I don't think we should move this one into tilt, even in the best case scenario. I think that's just a little far-fetched. I mean, we do have
Mm-hmm.
this one internal, but it's very sketchy. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I think lean is good for that. And then I'd also like to add just one more state, which would be Iowa into lean. I think in the best case scenario, I think Democrats still have no chance to pull off Iowa. They would need something absolutely crazy, like a miracle, like Chuck Grassley passing away for that to happen.
Yeah, Chuck Grassley is just such a set figure in Iowa. He's been their senator for so long. He's won by like 20 plus points before, double digits, like almost every
Yeah.
election for years and years and years. I don't know. Recent polling has showed it like that it could fall to like an 8-point race, like a likely race. So I think in the best chance for Democrats, they can maybe get it to lean, but I can't see a reality where Chuck Grassley loses this.
Yep. All right, there we go. I think those are the only two lean Republican states. I think we should next move on to the likely and lean Democrat states. So starting it off, I think we can go with Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
This one is definitely going to be moved into the likely column. Before, I was honestly thinking, we were considering putting it into the likely column for our September prediction, but we ended up putting it into lean. I think this is not an official prediction video, of course, but I think since then we've definitely we're going to be keeping that into lean, at least for me, for now, with Oz slightly catching up. But I think in their best case scenario, this one would certainly be likely.
Yeah, I think this one could get into like high likelies for them. Like that's like maybe 8 to high 9 like percentage points. Because just Fetterman has been like doing pretty well. He's been leading in every poll. I think that in the best case scenario, they can get it into that margin. I just don't really see it getting into a solid margin, especially
Yeah.
just like with the current climate and odds slightly closening it. Like I just don't. Yeah, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
best case likely for Democrats.
That would be absolutely insane
Yeah.
if Fetterman won by over 10.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
I think for the next one we should do Arizona with
correct.
Mark Kelly. I think this one will be a likely race as well in the best case for Democrats. Mark Kelly, he's been polling well. He's been like I'd say he's been polling around around a likely margin. Like even like in 2020 we saw him like polling like in this like margin between 5 and 10. Like I think in the God scenario for Dems, Mark Kelly could get it there, especially with a more extreme candidate like Blake Masters.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really interesting the polling in this race, right? I mean, obviously Mark Kelly's winning every single poll, but recently, if it sort of feels like Masters is tightening it, right? We saw Trafalgar do multiple polls. One of the only pollsters to really do that in Arizona so far. And we've seen him tightening up from -4 to -2. And I'm certainly keeping it into the lean column for my actual prediction as of right now. But as we can see, Blake Masters is catching up. So I don't think Mark Kelly could get it to safe in the Dems' best case scenario. There we go. Likely D on Arizona. And where do you want to go next?
Where to next? That's a good question. I think maybe Nevada.
Yeah, sure. We could go to Nevada. In this scenario, I'm very reluctant to put this into likely, but what do you think?
I don't know. I'm pretty reluctant as well. I mean, Catherine Cortez Masto, I mean, we've said this before. This is one of the most 50-50 races.
Correct.
So I think in a best case scenario for Democrats, I don't know, like, could they get this over 5? They barely got it over 5 in 2018. So
Correct.
I don't know. I don't think I don't see that happening. I think in the best case they can maybe get it to 3. Cortez Masto, the incumbent, could get it maybe to a 3-point win, a 4-point win, but I don't think he gets to that likely margin there.
Yeah, I'm highly reluctant to put this one into likely, even in the God scenario where Pennsylvania goes likely. Just because Laxalt is established, he is a pretty strong candidate, and Nevada's trending to the right, so it does counter any crazy best case scenario, I think, in my opinion. Anyways, I think we should move to Florida. We haven't done Florida yet, and that's very surprising. And going to Florida, we usually do Florida very early on in our predictions, right? It's like safe or likely. And this one, I'm actually willing to put this into tilt R. Just because, all these polls are looking like it might tighten up. I don't think even in the best case scenario, Val Demings wins this. I'm not going to lie, but I would be putting this one into tilt Republican.
I mean, yeah, I could see this actually going, like, in the best case scenario for Democrats, right? I mean, we've seen the polls closening in Florida. We've seen Rubio underperforming Ron DeSantis in terms of the polling. We see Val Demings out fundraising Rubio. I don't know. This is an interesting one. I think it could tilt either way in the best case scenario for Democrats. I think maybe there's a small reality where Val Demings does take this win. But I don't know. Just because I think the one thing that would make me stick with your side here on tilt Republican is that, the Hispanic shifts in Florida, and Rubio typically, in 2016 did really well with that group off the bat. So I think I will stick with you here and put that in tilt R.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Democrat video. If you say tilt D, I've got to do it. But
I think I'll stick with you here.
But yeah, I do think just objectively here, this one would be tilt R. I mean, if you would say tilt D, I would do it, right? It's a Democrat video, but to be fair here, I think Rubio just has too many strengths in Florida for this one to go Democrat this cycle. And now I think we should move to Wisconsin, which would be probably not as close as Ohio, North Carolina, or Georgia. But I think we should go to Wisconsin here, or Georgia. I mean, Georgia and Wisconsin are sort of on par with each other.
You think so? I think. Okay, well, on the topic of Georgia, let's do Georgia.
Let's do Georgia, sure.
We have Raphael Warnock. He's the incumbent. I don't know. Recent polling has shown Walker doing better, but I mean, there's also a few polls showing Warnock up. So there was a recent YouGov poll, Quinnipiac. So I don't know. There's some polls showing Walker winning, some polls showing Warnock winning. I think in the best case for Democrats, Warnock could probably get this to lean D in a runoff. I think he can get it there. I don't know. I definitely think especially if he takes advantage of debates and stuff, I think definitely Warnock could get this into the lean category.
Yeah. I mean, just to explain my reasoning, I wasn't saying that Wisconsin, Georgia would be, completely on par in terms of the margin this cycle, but I thought in this prediction for the best case For the Democrats, I would be putting both into lean Democrat, which is why I didn't know which one to go to first. But anyways, I agree with you. I think Warnock would be able to get this to a 3 to 4 point margin. Putting it above 5 is just a little bit too much. Even with the Atlanta shifts, I just don't see that happening in the cycle.
Yeah.
And
I think. Okay. Yeah, you can go. You can go.
yeah, I mean, yeah, let's go to Wisconsin then. Let's see if anything to say about Georgia. In Wisconsin, I was gonna say, I personally think this one is still lean D. And the reasoning for this, maybe a month ago, I would have said the best case scenario is likely Democrat. But the reason for this is some recent polling. Just it's starting to shift towards Ron Johnson. Previously, we were looking at all these polls that showed Barnes up. At first we thought, this must just be a fluke, right? But then we saw more and more polls just rolling in, and we thought, Barnes has a really good shot at this. Then we also saw Marquette. Marquette does polls here pretty often, and they're pretty well reputed in Wisconsin, right? So with Marquette, this trend in Marquette is probably the biggest thing. Looking at all these polls, they can all have their individual bias, but when they trend in a certain way, you can see how the electorate is shifting. And with the likely voters, Johnson went from down 7 to up 1. And I think he's definitely in the lead right now, which is why I'm putting this at lean D in the best case scenario for Democrats.
Yeah, I think this will be a close race either way. And I think in the best case that Mendel Barnes can definitely come up on top of Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson isn't particularly popular. I mean, sometimes his approval is shown as neutral, but most of the time he's in that unpopular range. Majority of Wisconsinites disapprove of him. So I can definitely see a reality where Barnes takes this by up to 3 points. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And now we only have 2 more states left. So I think we should go to North Carolina first, just because I think along with Florida, Ohio is going to be one of the closest ones.
Okay.
So yeah, going to North Carolina. Do you want to go for this one, or do you want me to?
I'll take it. Okay. So Tim Ryan is running a campaign against JD Vance here. Some polls show Tim Ryan up, some show JD Vance up. I'd say slightly more reputable polls in Emerson College show JD Vance up. So I think in the actual race, JD Vance is leading this. But in the best case for Democrats, I do actually think Tim Ryan can take this. He's out fundraising JD Vance, and I think he's doing a very good job of appealing to moderates and Republicans. Because if you look at that governor election polling, Mike DeWine, the Republican governor, is winning by double digits. I think one poll had him at 18. Meanwhile, the Senate race is single digits. So I do see a reality where Tim Ryan can pull enough Republicans to actually take this election. I'm kind of stuck though if this would be a lean or tilt margin. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I thought you're about to take North Carolina there. I sort of asked you to take North Carolina, but it's okay. We'll talk about Ohio. I was saying Ohio is probably one of the closest ones with Florida, so I was gonna put this one into tilt. But I also know a good amount of people in Ohio, and they're saying, JD Vance is basically nowhere. There's no JD Vance signs. There's a lot of Tim Ryan signs. And, I was thinking, just in the few minutes where you're talking, I think Ryan could win by more than 1 point. So I'm willing to put this one into lean.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there we go. And then we have North Carolina. So North Carolina, of course, is always, as we say in every video, a tease for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, it's always a bait.
And in this best case scenario, it would not be a tease for sure. Beasley has led the most recent poll, but not sure how great that poll is, to be honest. There's been quite a bit of polling in this race relative to a few other races, and I think Cherry Beasley definitely wins it, right, in this scenario, and definitely wins it by more than 1. So I think this one is also lean Democrat. I'm very hesitant to put it on par with Pennsylvania and Arizona.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
this one is gonna, I think, be lean.
Yeah, I think in the best case, she'd be able to beat Ted Budd there and take it for the Democrats. So that leaves us with 54 Democrats and 46 Republicans in the best possible scenario for Democrats as of
Yeah.
right now.
Will Rovember come? If Rovember comes, this is going to be what happens. So if you're a Democrat, get out and vote. If you're in one of these swing states to make this a reality, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're in Missouri, go vote. But if you're in Alabama, don't bother. All right. That was not legal advice. Go vote for your local elections. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like this video, comment down below, subscribe, hit the bell.
Share. Yeah.
Share with your friends. Thanks for watching. Bye.
See ya.